Hi guys, I've just got to say, do excuse the extremely frizzy hair. I don't know, I've pretty much got an afro again now, so this is what it is. I haven't straightened it in a while. So let's jump into it. So today I have another kind of joint book and film wrap up, as well as a TBR that I'll get to a bit later on. Starting with the books that I read during April. I'm filming it on the 28th, so there's still a couple of days left in a month, but I don't think I'm gonna get the book that I'm reading currently finished, so I thought I might as well film it now. So I only managed to get 3 books read in April, and one of them was extremely short. So anyway, the first book I got to and finished was Kindred Spirits by Rainbow Rowell. This was the kind of £1 World Book Day book that she wrote, and at the back it had a little kind of taster for Beautiful Broken Things by Sarah Bernard, which sounds really awesome. So honestly, I didn't really know what this was about going into it, and I didn't understand why it was so small. I didn't realise it was for World Book Day. I didn't understand. I thought it was like going to be a chapter taster or something. I really didn't know why it was so tiny. Anyway, yeah, this is about a girl called Eleanor, I believe her name is, who's absolutely obsessed with Star Wars. It's kind of about just her experience in her first ever Star Wars line, waiting for the newest movie to come out. I didn't really know what it was about when I first jumped into it. I just saw it was £1, it was by Rainbow Rowell, I might as well try it out. And despite not really understanding what it was about going into it, and it being such a small book, I really actually enjoyed it much more than I thought I was going to. I gave it a 3.5 stars. Initially I didn't think I was going to really like it after reading the first few pages, because it's about Star Wars and I've never watched or read or did anything to do with Star Wars in my life. I don't have any interest in it, so I didn't know how I was going to feel reading, as short as it is, a book, you know, all about this theme, this I don't know, this way of life that I'm not interested in. But I really did enjoy it, and I think I enjoyed it because of the way it was written. It had so much humour, it had really likeable characters. I just had a really good time reading it. Despite being pretty short, it had pretty decent kind of character development and plot development. I mean, in terms of plot, it wasn't, you know, a very complex situation of what was going on. It was simple enough, but, you know, you had a beginning, middle and an end, and it was quite satisfying. So yeah, this got a 3.5 stars from me, and I definitely recommend it. Okay, and then I read Desolation by Derek Landy. I've already got a review up. I put one up this month, so I'll link it for you if you want to watch that. It's the second in a series. It's a trilogy, I do believe, of like The Demon Road, I think the series is called. And obviously I can't go too much into detail because it is a second in a series, but basically we're following this girl called Amber, and some strange things has happened to her in the past couple of months, like quite extraordinary things, and we're basically just continuing the journey. It's kind of classed as I'd call it an urban fantasy YA book. Some of the things, particularly in this book, I mean, it's not outlandishly rude or anything, but it does have more adult scenes. Nothing terribly so, but I wouldn't necessarily give it to a 14-13-year-old and say, hey, read this, you know. But it is really, really good. I really enjoyed this, and if you've watched my review for it, know that I gave it a 4.5 stars, and I really, really did enjoy it. This was actually provided to me by NetGalley, as is the next and last book I'm going to talk to you about. So thank you very much, NetGalley. I am so very happy that I managed to get it through them, because that's how I got Demon Road, the first book. So yeah, keeping with the theme. And the last book I read in April was Pax by Sarah Pennypacker, and wow, this was a great one. I've already filmed a review for this, so I'm not going to talk too much about this one either. I don't know when it's going to be uploaded, but I do have a non-spoilers half and a spoilery half in one video, if that makes sense. So yeah, not going to express my thoughts too much, but it's about a relationship between a boy and a fox. The boy Peter rescued Pax when he was very, very young, and all his like siblings in the litter had died. He was the only one there. His mum, it tells you very early on, his mum had died whilst, you know, he was waiting for her to come back with food. The dad wasn't there. I don't know what happened, maybe he just went off, I don't know. It's just a really heartwarming kind of middle grade story about friendship, and there's so many different themes. I went into so much detail in that video, so hopefully you enjoy that if you decide to watch that when it's uploaded. But yeah, I gave that a 4.5 stars, definitely close to the 5 star mark, so very, very good read. One that kind of almost stays with you for quite a long time. So that's all I managed to read during April. I'm going to go on and talk a bit about a TBR. So in terms of TBRs, this month I'm taking part in the year-a-thon for May, which is, let me consult my little piece of paper, finish or catch up on a series, and this is through the 2nd to the 8th of May, which I also think is the Ribstat, is that what it's called? Read Your Bookshelf-a-thon, which I won't be taking part in. I don't think I've ever done that actually, but I shall be maybe eventually. Anyway, that's what I'm going to be taking part in. I'm not sure how much, to be honest, I'm going to get read because May is our exam season. I've actually got my first exam this coming Thursday, which is a practical, but still, you know, need to revise for it. But I do have a kind of little, just 3 books that I hope to at least start, which is kind of continuing / finishing a series. So the first one I have here is the 3rd in the Miss Peregrine series, and that is Library of Souls by Ransom Riggs. I've read the other 2 books during March? Might have been March? I think it was March, and I've been really enjoying these. My cousin Ebony's borrowing the first one at the moment, so I'm hoping she likes it. Basically, I think a lot of people know what this is about. It's about a boy trying to come to terms with a tragic death in his family, and through the use of photographs and stuff, he goes to investigate where this family member used to live and find out more about it, because it has quite supernatural elements. It's not as horrifying as I had first assumed, so I wouldn't actually call it a horror. It just has some questionable kind of creepy photographs that help to add to the atmosphere of the story, which is pretty interesting. I've got reviews on the first 2. I don't know if they're uploaded yet. I'm really bad at that. And the next 2 are from the same series. This is from the Raven Boys series. I think that's just what they're called, and it is the 2nd and 3rd books. So this is The Dream Thieves and Blue Lily Lily Blue by Maggie Stavata. The 4th one I think recently came out, The Dream King I think it is, and this series is about this group of boys from like this all boys school, and they're meeting with a young psychic girl and kind of their adventures in finding out about ley lines and stuff like that, and it just sounds all very whimsical and magical realism and stuff, and I really do need to continue this because I would like to get to the 4th book fairly soon, because I really did enjoy the first book and I don't know what stopped me from continuing, to be honest. So those are what I decided to pick up for the May Year-a-thon. Let me know what you're hoping to pick up if you're taking part, or any other readathons that you decide to take part in. Let me know what you're reading for those. Now I'm just going to talk to you a bit about the films that I watched during April. I watched slightly more than I read. I watched 4 films. 2 of them were quite disappointing, and the other 2 was lovely, so it's an interesting balance. So the first one I want to talk about is Krampus. This came out during Christmas last year, and I've been wanting to see it because I'm really interested in the legend of Krampus. He's kind of like Saint Nicholas's shadow, and he kind of deals with all the naughty kids, and it's just a dark kind of mysterious legend that I feel is really, really interesting. And when I noticed that they had kind of like a horror film at Christmas, I thought, oh, this is awesome, hopefully they're going to pull it off, and so I ended up giving it a 2.5 stars. It actually turned out to be more of a horror Christmas comedy rather than a flat out horror at Christmas. So I guess I ended up liking it, but kind of didn't at the same time because of the way they advertised it. But I guess once I realised that it was supposed to be a comedy kind of mixed into it, I did find it funny. And I mean, it had stereotypical characters for obvious puns, I guess. Like that was meant to be funny, I suppose. But in a way, it was just like, this isn't what I was expecting. It's not that great in the aspect that I wanted a horror, but I guess as a comedy horror it's kind of funny, but still it just didn't live up to my expectations. There was a little animated scene where a character was talking about the legend of Krampus, and that was really, really interesting. I liked how completely different it went. It kind of looked like a Tim Burton film, the way it was designed and stuff, and quite dark. I really liked that, but at the same time the story that they was telling through that animation was pretty crap. Like, it didn't really have much of a hold on me. I feel like it could have been more dramatic, more like, ooh, oh no, but it just really wasn't. The ending was pretty predictable, but I guess just overall it was an okay film. Again, it wasn't what I was expecting, and I guess I was disappointed in that. So yeah, just an okay film, if that's what you're going for, I suppose. And then I watched Goosebumps. This is the one with Jack Black in it, and again, this was another one. I think it came out around Christmassy time. I might be a little bit wrong there, but I think it was around the similar time. I had so much high expectations for this, and I don't even know why. I don't usually do that to myself, but there was just something that I was so excited by. And oh my god, just first I want to talk about the actors that were playing. Apart from Jack Black, I saw them on an interview one day on This Morning, which is like a UK morning breakfast show sort of thing, if you don't know. And they were interviewing them, and more particularly they were interviewing like the younger actors, and oh my god, they looked so uncomfortable, like they really didn't want to be there. Jack Black was being his usual funny self, you know, being silly, and nobody seemed to understand the humour. It was just such an awkward thing to watch. I really disliked it. But yeah, just going back onto the film now. This is supposed to be, I guess, R.L. Stine kind of, I don't know, being a hermit and hiding his daughter and kind of staying away from the world, but he has all of his books, and once opened, all of his characters that he's written about, all of his monsters come to life, and it's kind of about them sort of sorting out that aspect and, I don't know, coming out on top again. I just feel like the characters were really far too quickly developed, and it wasn't even very well done. It had a bad plot. Aside from Jack Black, it had bad acting, and I was actually very disappointed. I was hoping Jack Black would have kind of boosted more humour into it, but even that fell short, which I'm really shocked about. Really, I just didn't even want to finish it, and by like the end part, which was extremely predictable, might I add, I wasn't really paying much attention. I really wasn't. I ended up giving it a 1 out of 5 stars, and if I could give it less, I really would. I just flat out didn't really enjoy it. Really disappointed. Will not be watching that again. But luckily, I managed to finish that month with a nice ending of 2 films that I really enjoyed watching. So the first one was the 1950s animated Cinderella, of which I gave a 4 out of 5 stars. It's actually been so long since I've watched the original, despite having it on video like since my childhood. I've got so many VHSs like in a cabinet, and that's amongst them. I don't know why I haven't like dusted them off and watched them for ages, but yeah, it's just been so long since I watched this, so I was really excited to manage to catch it on telly. Just on the off chance I was like channel surfing and it was on, so yay. I don't really think I need to explain the synopsis. I feel like everybody knows the story of Cinderella, so. Although it pulls a little bit cringy on this day and age, it still stays such a charming and lovely film. I really did enjoy it. For goodness sake, this has been the first time my eyes have opened to Gus. Throughout the whole thing, I was like, for God's sake, Gus. That little mouse was just such a klutz. He was getting on my nerves. Oh my god, he really bothered me. This is also the first time I think that I've realised how short the film was. It didn't feel like it lasted long at all. But anyway, it was really good. I enjoyed it. And the last film I watched in April was From Up on Poppy Hill, which is a Miyazaki Studio Ghibli film. This was, I believe, released in 2011. I don't know if that was worldwide or if that was just the UK release. So it was actually the first time I had seen this one, and I do believe this is the first film that Miyazaki had his son help him write. I think that's right, I might be wrong. Basically, it's about a bunch of Yokohama teens trying to save their school clubhouse from being demolished due to the 1964 Tokyo Olympics. I just found this to be a kind of nice slice of life sort of film with quite a warming story, some friendship, and also a kind of odd, very slightly hinted at fluffy romance that didn't go very far, but kind of, it was forbidden for a moment, and then, oh my gosh, oh yeah. So I'm actually shocked that the romance went where it did. Like I'm shocked that they brought that into the film. If you've seen it, you know what I mean, hopefully. And it's funny really, because I randomly said something at the beginning that was related to this scenario, and it kind of in a way ended up being true, only to be twisted again. So I was like, oh my god, I was right, and then I wasn't. Just overall, I found it to be a very intense, intricate plot that I wasn't expecting it to be. I thought it was just going to be a generally just a regular slice of life really, but there was so much complications to it that it was really, really good. And I always love the level of detail that Miyazaki and Studio Ghibli in general just bring to their films, like in art, in music, in acting. I love it. It's just, everything is just well rounded. The only major problem I had was not knowing who all characters were in relation to like the main characters, I suppose, but I did miss the first couple of minutes of it, or I want to say maybe first 5-10 minutes, so maybe they might have had it kind of like an introductory section in those parts, but I wouldn't know because I missed that. I'll have to find out if I get the DVD or something. Yeah, I really enjoyed it and I would give it a 4 out of 5 stars. So just lastly, I want to mention a TV show that I have just finished, and it was series 4 of Wolfblood, which airs on CBBC. I just really want to kind of talk about the series just briefly, and like the finale and everything without any spoilers, don't worry about it. I just found this to be such an awesome series, and I didn't know if I was going to enjoy it so much because it was set more in a city setting, and that has been completely different considered to the other 3 series. But I really, really enjoyed it. It was interesting seeing the loss of old characters, but also the arrival of new characters and kind of seeing their place in the new story, I guess. It just turned out to be like really emotional and I really enjoyed it. But I can't believe how quickly it finished. Like, I was wishing for it to come back on for so long, and then as soon as it came back on, I felt like it just left just as quickly. But I really hope there's like a 5th season soon. If there is one, I really do hope so. And just quickly, I want to mention I am now just waiting for the 2nd series of The Nowhere Boys, which is also by CBBC, or airs on CBBC anyway. And I'm really excited about that because recently I found out that they are definitely doing a 2nd series. I'm not sure, it kind of looked like a film, but I don't know if it's a series or not. But it's called The Book of Shadows. Hopefully the UK will get it this year as well because it's set to be released in 2016. But yeah, I just wanted to quickly mention those. So that's it for this wrap up, book and film wrap up, and a little bit of a TV wrap up too. Let me know what you've been reading or watching during April. Maybe some suggestions of things you want me to read or watch in the future. I'm open to suggestions. But for now, thank you very much for watching and I'll speak to you next time. Bye.